Yo, what is going on, gamers, and welcome back to another Fortnite video. Hey, in this video I wanted to give you a little bit of advice on how you can up your game here in the Fortnite Battle Royale. Now, I'm not like some top tier streamer, right, with a million wins, but at this point in the game I've accumulated well over 100, close to 200 wins, and I've experienced a lot of personal growth, and I wanted to share with you guys how you might do the same. The very first thing that I wanted to talk about is what I call the avoidance strategy. First of all, what is that? What is the avoidance strategy? Well, the avoidance strategy is basically the strategy that players employ when every decision that they make when they drop in to the match. Every decision they make is based around the idea of avoiding all engagements possible, so that you can save your loot, save your health, and your building materials for the end game, right? So basically these people, they tend to have most, if not all, of their engagements in the final couple of zones in the match. So the avoidance strategy, in my opinion, is in the long run a very poor strategy to employ. And why is that? Well, basically, the thing that's wrong with the avoidance strategy is, when you think about it, it can work. A lot of people, this is the way that they play the game, and if you want to play the game that way, absolutely feel free to do so. But here's the trade-off you have to understand, is that you are not going to really get better at gunfights if you are avoiding them. Right? You don't get better at shooting hoops by playing football. You don't get more muscle mass by avoiding the gym, and you're not going to get better at gunfights if you don't insert yourself into them. You're not going to get better at engagements if you don't have engagements. So if you want to actually up your game, if you want to get better at the game, the avoidance strategy is a really poor tactic to use. You can get wins here and there, but generally the thing is, you're probably going to end up going up against some of the better people in the lobby there in those final fights, and they've most likely been in more engagements than you. They're more warmed up than you. They've got a better shot than you. And I'm not going to say that I'm the best shot in the world, but my shot's getting a lot better the more and more I tend to force engagements and play a little bit more aggressively. So if you want to see that kind of personal growth in your ability to manage engagements, then you need to practice engagements. So the more engagements you put yourself in, the more you're going to get used to things like building on the fly, maneuvering around opponents' obstacles and building materials that they use. And you're also going to get better at hot swapping between weapons. You know, a lot of guys, what they do, a lot of times they'll lose firefights because they start with a sniper rifle. It's a bolt action. They take the shot. They go to cycle another round and take another shot. That takes way too much time. If you watch really talented players, you watch guys like Ninja, you watch Darkness49, you watch Dr. Lupo, anytime they take a shot with a bolt action sniper, almost immediately they will switch to an AR of some kind to try and put in follow-up shots before the opponent can get to cover. Because once you take the shot with the bolt action, you've alerted them to your presence, you've alerted them that they are in danger. They're going to try and build, they're going to try and get to cover, and you can't afford to take the time to try and cycle another round in the bolt action. So just simple things like that, you're going to get in a much better rhythm, and you're going to know what to do in the moment if you have the muscle memory to do so. And muscle memory only comes from inserting yourself into engagements. So one of the things you have to do if you want to get better at the game is force engagements. So what does that mean? Well, maybe that means starting to land at more populated places. Although I will admit, in solos can be kind of weird. Like in duos and squads, you know where most of the people are going to end up. But in solos, people play so strangely. There's times where I'll go to Pleasant Park or Retail Row, and I'll be one of only 2 people there. And then another time I'll go to someplace, a little bit less populated, something like Fatal Fields, and get 6 kills. And you're like, wait, this doesn't make sense. There's so much more loot at Pleasant Park or Retail Row. Why am I only getting 1 guy there and 6 here? It doesn't make sense. But solos are like that. You can't really predict what the lobby is going to do. It depends on. Sometimes you just get a ton of people who are like, I'm going to try and avoid engagements, so I'm going to go to this more remote place. But then everyone ends up doing it. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things I would tell you, is that you need to try and start to force more engagements. That doesn't necessarily mean playing recklessly or stupidly, but try and get yourself in the mix. get yourself involved in more gunplay so that you can build up the muscle memory that you need to be able to do all of those things like building on the fly, swapping weapons, maneuvering around opponent structures, all these things. You're going to get more used to it. And other things like if you're using the avoidance strategy, you tend not to push teams that you've got picks on as quickly as you ought to. And you saw in some of the gameplay there, I got an opponent down, and so I instantly tried to push the second guy. I don't want to give him the chance to get the revive, but then I caught him mid-revive. I jumped down into his building and just got a free shotgun headshot at point-blank range to clean up the team because he took the time to revive. That's another thing I want to talk about is managing downs. So I have seen so many people in this game burn their chances at winning an engagement because they were too hasty to go for the kill on the first guy they knocked. So say you're playing duos. Here's the scenario, right? You're playing duos, you get a knock on a guy, and either your teammate is down or your teammate's not there. It's just you and the two guys, okay? So you get one opponent down, and you're in a 1v1 now, and that opponent, he is pushing you. He wants to kill you. He's trying to get an angle on you. He's trying to get shots on you. I've seen so many times where people will just try and finish off the kill on the guy that they downed before engaging the second guy. And what that does for you is it now puts you in a scenario where you've wasted time that you could have been building up, getting a better vantage point, flanking, whatever you got to do to get a better position on the second guy, the actual threat. Not only that, but you've now wasted ammo. You force yourself to, dump ammo out of your magazine. You may have to reload while the second guy pushes you. You know what I mean? I had an instance live on stream yesterday where it was this exact scenario. My teammate got downed, and I pushed in. I downed one guy, and the second guy, the last guy, he ends up finishing off my teammate right in front of me with his SMG. And the thing is, when he did that, I didn't have full health. And when he did that, he used all of the ammo in his SMG to clean up the guy that was down, the guy that wasn't the actual threat. He finished off my teammate. And now I'm in a scenario where he pulls out his pickaxe to try and finish me off when I pushed him not 2 seconds later. And I have a shotgun. It was an easy kill. The guy's just trying to pickaxe me, right? And I had like 40 health, so if I lose that fight, then I should probably uninstall the game. But the guy basically screwed over his team. He could have instead used his ammo in his SMG to try and push me, to eliminate me, and then he could pick up his teammate, maybe go on and win the game, who knows. But instead he screws over both teams with his poor decision making. So don't be too hasty to finish off the knocks that you get. First, make a judgment call on whether or not you need to be in a more defensive mode or aggressive mode on the second guy, or third guy, fourth guy, whatever it may be, if you're playing duos or squads. So sometimes it's the right call to go ahead and finish off your kill as fast as you can if you're engaged from a significant distance and you get the knock and you don't want them to build around the guy. You want to go ahead and finish off the guy so that when you do close the gap, there's one less player. Yes, that's the right time to go ahead and try and finish off your knocks and confirm your kills. But when you are up close with the enemy team, it's best to leave the knocked ones down and focus on using those precious seconds on getting the advantage over the actual threats. And that's going to help you actually win more games in the long run. You're going to win more games if you prioritize the actual threats. The last thing I want to talk about is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, factors that will dramatically change up your game and make you a better player in this game, and that is fast building. If you watch some of the top streamers in this game, the ones that have the best win percentages, these are guys that as soon as a single bullet flies past them, they are instantly they got the blueprints out. They're building cover, they're building stairs, they're building walls, just to throw off the enemy, break up the line of sight. And it's such a dramatic game changer. And when they get into engagements, a lot of times they'll do double stairways straight up, and before the opponent can gun down the stairways, they run up, have high ground, and can put shots down on the guy. And when you're above, you got height advantage. The hitbox on the head is basically more of the hitbox is the crit range. or is the that crit area. So you're more likely to get headshots, wipe the guy quickly from a higher vantage point. So this building on the fly like that is such an invaluable skill. You really have to get used to doing it. And again, the avoidance strategy won't help you do it. You got to put yourself in the mix. Get used to building quickly on the fly. Get used to that scroll wheel, and build up that muscle memory so that you can do that stuff really, really fast. So I hope these tips have been helpful for you. Hopefully you enjoyed the gameplay. Feel free to stop by the stream sometime. I'd love to hang out and chat with you. And I'll catch you later.